Hello, everyone, and welcome back to the Agent Spotlight, the show where we sit down with real agents working real razor-ridge leads and pull back the curtain on how they get results. I'm your host, Ayo Bakare. And now, if you spent any time in our Facebook group, you'll already know today's guest, or at least you know him by his hashtag. He is the man behind Raise Your Standards. Ladies and gentlemen, Mr. Raise Your Standards himself, James Butler. Now, he was a construction worker who joined Symmetry Financial Group at the end of January last year, so in 2025. And so we're talking about 18 months in the business. And since then, he has just recently hit team leader off the back of mainly razor-ridge leads from his May and June production. Over that time, he had over $61,000 in submitted across 2 months, and over 41,000 of it was issued, with about 70% of that coming from razor-ridge leads. Now, I'm really excited to have him on the podcast. Please welcome to this Agent Spotlight, James Butler. James, welcome to have you here.
Thank you, Ayo. Appreciate it. Yeah, really glad to be here, brother.
Yeah, good. Now, I want to talk to you about your background. So you've left a six-figure construction worker job, that you're doing really well, successful. You traveled from your hometown of Oregon to New Mexico to do it and had an investment property. Yet you gave all that up to become a life insurance agent. Why? Why would you do that?
That's a good question. I guess to put it, not to be too mushy or, emotional or anything like that, but love. I fell in love, Ayo.
That's amazing.
And
Wow.
I was in New Mexico for about a year, and I'm originally from Oregon and was looking to move and was in the construction business. And I was moving the needle in construction business, but I wanted a change of scenery and something different. And so I was looking at different places. I went to Texas a couple times. I went to Atlanta, Northern California, down to Vegas.
Oh, you've
Just looking for a different place. Now, all looking for different places, and it just so happened, when I was in that space where I felt like I wanted to move, I was doing a lot of traveling. Single guy, was traveling a lot because I make more money traveling. You get some per diem traveling.
Yeah.
A lot of the time there's overtime opportunities, leadership opportunities, because they like that you take initiative for traveling.
Yeah.
And so I had an opportunity in New Mexico. And so I took the opportunity because I was wanting to leave anyway.
Yeah, it's great.
So, but 6 weeks before I actually left to New Mexico, I went to my cousin's wedding, and beautiful wedding out in the country. And afterwards, the ceremony was gorgeous. Afterwards, I went to congratulate my cousin and her new husband. And after I did so, we took some pictures together. And then my cousin's like, "Hey, by the way, one of my bridesmaids thinks you're cute." I'm like, "Who?" And she's like, "Really?" So I met who's basically my wife now,
Amazing.
back in Oregon, and now we live here in Orlando, just outside of Orlando, Florida. So we hit it off on the dance floor, had a great time, wanted to continue getting to know each other, but she lived 3,000 miles away.
Yeah.
So 6 weeks after that, I moved to New Mexico, in a leadership role with the company that I was with, and decided I was going to stay. They wanted me to work there for a little bit and come back. Bought a duplex, did the house hacking thing, rented one side out, lived in the other side. My mortgage was the rest of my mortgage was very inexpensive.
Yeah.
Was, in a leadership role. Shortly after that, they wanted me to come back home. I jumped ship and went from one company to another company and stayed because I wasn't going back. And then it was on my heart to reach back out to Desiree. So So we started talking, and when I was single 10 years, Ayo. You know what I mean?
Yeah. I need.
The, the spark I thought was gone, and she reignited that spark in a very short period of time. Plus, we had the separation, so we
Hmm.
really got to know each other on a deeper level.
Yeah.
And so she kept coming to visit. I came here to visit. We went back to Oregon together a couple times. And then after that, when you just know.
Yeah.
And so I left New Mexico, rented out the other side of my duplex, and moved here to Orlando area here. And so when I moved, I wasn't going to be in construction anymore. I decided that I was going to start and blaze my own trail. I didn't
Hmm.
want to work for anybody else. I knew that I was capped, six-figure income. When I left the company I was with, I was a general foreman. So I had about 48 guys that I was responsible for. And when you move from just building hotels, hospitals, universities, at this point, it was a Netflix job that I ran. You go from building people to managing people, and in
Yeah.
that industry, I love the construction industry. Please don't get me wrong, anybody that's still in construction, but you turn into in that industry at least you turn into a glorified babysitter. So I said I'm moving.
Oh, that's funny.
So, so I got into real estate here. Was going to the groups, meeting new people, making connections, and I chose wholesaling real estate, which is a very
Mhm.
tough industry to be in. And so I tried my hand at that for a year, spent money on marketing channels, and it wasn't bearing the fruit that I was hoping it would bear.
Sure.
And so I say all this to say, AO, is that I don't think anybody, when they were born, they were like, hey, I really want to be a life insurance agent. When I grow up, I want to be a life insurance agent. So I had a little bit of prior experience in my 20s, didn't take it serious back then.
Hmm.
And, I found this opportunity with Symmetry Financial Group. Got into it January 20th of 2025,
Yep.
and got into the industry, and it's a tough business, but it's changed who I am. The last year and a half of my life is completely different in business and also as a human being. It forces you to grow, right?
Mm.
But then, what was it? I think it was back in March, because I had heard about Razor Ridge before, and people had the CRM and Razor Ridge leads, and this was when I was very new. And then it was talked about a little bit, and then it just wasn't talked about for a while, you know. And then
Because
I then and not my direct upline, but the agency owner, Karen Reed,
yeah.
suggested Razor Ridge, and then our boy Jesse Backrack
Yeah.
started talking about Razor Ridge, and I started seeing his wins. And at this point, Jesse was in our virtual office all the time.
Right.
And and you got 18 months here, and you got Jesse, who's been in the business for 14 years.
Yeah.
I mean, saying that he's a closer and a sales juggernaut is is an understatement, right? We both know that. So
Agree. Yeah.
started seeing his success, and this was really when I started going all in. I started investing more in myself and in my resources.
Hmm.
Obvious leads are very huge, and I was running mainly mortgage protection leads.
Yeah.
Started running the Razor Ridge leads, and they're ran completely different, right? It's a
Yes.
way different dynamic,
Yeah. We'll,
analog
we'll,
lead,
we'll
mortgage
get
protection.
into that. Yeah.
Yeah.
Into that. I think that needs its own section for sure, because I think what you're saying, and sorry to into there, what you're saying is actually really important, because the transition from an analog MP lead is a completely different ballgame to how Razor Ridge develops the leads, right? And I think I want to spend a lot more time dissecting how that worked for you, and how you managed to overcome the stuff that you'd learned before to actually, let's just go into it now. Let's talk about it now, because it is important. Firstly, what is the differences that you found between the analog and I believe you buy mainly premium Razor Ridge leads, like just a basic off the top level difference. And then we can go into the details of how they work differently as well.
Yeah, absolutely. With the analog leads, the mortgage protection leads, we know that somebody gets something in the mail after they gotten a mortgage or a refinance. Maybe they got a home equity line of credit.
Yeah.
Sometimes people don't know what it is that they've done.
Mm-hmm.
You know, in business, you're told to triple dial, stay on top of people, call in the morning, call in the afternoon, call at night. So you gotta grind. You gotta hit that and hammer that phone like it's going out of style.
Yeah.
And it's like, I guess the analogy I would think of is like you got you got baseball and you got your softball, right?
Yeah, I gotcha. Yeah.
So your high speed, 100 mile an hour pitch that you have coming is the mortgage protection lead,
Mm-hmm.
but then you have the Razor Ridge lead. And the Razor Ridge lead is a slow-handed underhand pitch that might take a little bit longer to get to the plate,
Mm-hmm.
but once it gets to the plate, you swing, and chances are, you're gonna get at least a base hit
Yeah.
when the pitch actually reaches the base.
Yeah.
If
I
not,
gotcha.
believe me, there's been plenty of homers. But is it,
Analogy, I like that. Yeah, I really like that. That's a good analogy. And so let's get a bit more specific then. So your comment about the conversations that you're having with premium versus MP, like what are you doing that's similar and what are you doing that's different? Or are you doing anything that's similar?
yeah, not really a ton that's too similar.
Mm-hmm.
And with the success that I've had, to be honest, I haven't really put. And here's the awesome part is that I don't have a real I don't have any systems and automations and SMS follow-ups that are automated for me yet. So
Wait,
I'm
you're
so
you're
I'm
doing this all wow. I
so
didn't know
this
that. Insane.
I get them in the email, and the email is it. It's not even on a. I don't even have them on a. I don't even have them on a Excel spreadsheet. It's just email, and it's email AO, and then it's starred, and then I can go down to Google,
What?
email, click start, and there they are. So I'm manually sending my follow up text.
Wow.
So the similarities, other than what's obvious, I don't really think that there is any similarities, because when I'm calling them an analog lead, a mortgage protection lead, I need to call and specifically tell them who I am, why it is that I'm calling. It's usually a phone call first. I don't think with a Razor Ridge lead I ever call them first. You know,
Interesting.
sometimes in a lot of cases they're reaching out to me.
Yeah.
Hey, I got a phone call from Terry, who's her biggest fear is not being able to cover the mortgage for her family.
Yeah.
Wants me to reach out to her.
Yeah.
So I'm continue either starting the conversation or delivering or initiating the conversation, reaching out to them, or following up to them reaching out to me with a text message
Yeah.
with
Perfect.
my business ID, my driver's license.
Yeah.
And then it's not anything aggressive at all. I'm just a cool person having a cool conversation, either message or on the phone when I do finally call them, you
Mm,
know.
yeah.
So, And when I do finally call, a lot of the times they know that it's me that's calling. And if they don't, I let them know I'm just there to help.
Yeah.
I receive their information, and then I do what I can to just leave an open floor. Hey, I'm here to answer any questions that you have.
Hmm.
Make sure that that there's somebody here that's here to help you. But this isn't about me.
Yeah.
What was it that made you want to look into something like this? I've been doing this for a while. I'm a broker. I have all these different carriers based on your specific situation.
Hmm.
Together, collectively, we're going to tailor make something that fits your needs and budget the best. But
Yep.
in order to do that, what has you looking at this kind of coverage to begin with? Did somebody did somebody pass away or have a stroke, cancer, or heart attack that you're close to? What's
Hmm.
that look for you? And then I just leave it,
Legacy.
leave it, and then from there it just transpires. And a lot of the time, the client's happy to hear from me.
Hmm. Which
You
is
know,
awesome. Very, very awesome.
they're very open to have the conversation because it's left, and I've given them that space to do so. But I but I think the tone, and it's because with the Razor Ridge lead, the intent is higher and the tone has already been set for me.
Yeah. Correct.
That's that's a huge difference.
That's true. I think you definitely hit the nail on the head with the tone has been set for you. The biggest difference that I see, although I've never worked an analog lead, is that there's too much like opaqueness between what it is, firstly, because I've seen what these documents look like, and they're a bit on the edge, shall we say, when it comes to wording. So there's confusion about what it is. And then when you get on the phone with them, it's like, I need to get through this script as quickly as possible to just hopefully get that person still on the phone so they can actually talk about what the coverage actually could do. Whereas the way I go about things, and there's nothing wrong with that. It's worked for so long and it works really well. So I'm not saying that's bad. Actually, I'm saying it's worked really well and it's been great for like thousands and hundreds of thousands of agents. But there's obviously people have different ways of doing things, right? And so I've made a space for people who probably want to spend a bit more time spending less time on the phone, less time dialing, less time smashing the phone. And that does come up. The only way to do that is by building the trust on the front end to make sure that James is seen as this, this unicorn person that has all the answers to all my questions when it comes to protecting my family with a living benefits policy. And that's effectively what we do. And so it's great to see and hear that that's playing out in reality, because that also means that I'm doing my job, but it also means that you're living in hopefully the life that you've been looking for when it comes to life insurance. I guess the next question is, how has your schedule changed between going from like analog to digital razor?
Yeah, I will say that it's put a glitch in the matrix for the KPIs, right?
I like that statement. I'm gonna take that.
It put a glitch in the matrix for the KPIs, right?
Yeah,
You know,
sure. Yeah, that's true. Very, very true.
these people are these people are higher intent. They have regular lives. I don't have to constantly hammer them. I can let them know that I'm there and I'm available for them
Yeah.
when they're ready to be helped. And yeah, you know, it's like you have top ramen noodles that are done with some boiling water in an instant.
Yeah.
Then, then you have then you have a then you have a barbecue brisket.
Oh, yeah.
So you gotta
Feed out.
smoke.
Smoke
It's
that.
low and slow, and 14 hours, 12 hours, 14 hours on the grill or on the smoker.
Yeah.
But then when you cut into it, it's juicy and moist, and it's very. It's, I think that probably I'm sure this has been said before, but You can't go into a Razor Ridge. You can't go into a Razor Ridge investment and just invest short time.
Mm-hmm.
These people will reschedule on you. They will get back to you when they can. But once you do talk to them and you do sit down, they're serious, and they want to get something taken care of for their family, and it's there. So as far as the lifestyle that I'm able to lead, it's going to be even better, like I said, when I have systems and automations in
Yeah.
place.
Yeah, of course.
Hear that there might be something like that coming out, but
Yes, you hear correct. You definitely hear correct. But I think what you're doing, I should have known before I got on this pod, but you're doing all this by email. That makes it even better in a sense of what you're showing people is the way in which you get your leads delivered. As long as you have a structure to it, I'm sure you've got some sort of structure to it, right? It doesn't randomly appear to people, but as long as you've got a structure, you can actually make it work. Tell me a bit more about then how you structure your process. Like, what do you send in like the first text, and how quickly do you get to your leads? Because then we have loads of people who get by email, to get by Google Sheets, to get by other things that aren't a CRM. And it'll be helpful, I think, for those people to hear about how you're making it work so successfully and for a long duration as well.
yeah, I mean, they say to imitate before you innovate, right?
Mm-hmm. It's the best way of doing it.
Success leaves clues.
Mm-hmm.
So, I mean, I attest to a lot of the success that I've had is with, you know, picking Jesse's brain. When I reach out to somebody, it's it's at least initially, I don't know what the rest of his workflow looks like as far as, the continued text, but the beginning text is always like, hey, hey, Sandy, it's James Butler. I'm the broker that's assigned to get you the life insurance with living benefits. Just here to create some clarity, answer any questions that you have, and point you in the right direction.
Yeah.
Just for security purposes and for verification, this is the Sandy that really likes, you know, making her own candles,
Yes.
right?
Yeah. That's the hobby. Yeah. 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 And that's it. Boom. Done. Send.
Send, and then I don't send. I wait for them to respond. If I don't hear from them, maybe 4 or 5 hours will go by. I haven't heard from them. I'll shoot them a call. You know,
So relaxed.
and then if I don't hear from them that day, then I'll shoot them another text message.
Mm-hmm.
The max I'm calling these people are, the max outreach I'll do is one text message and one call, usually per day. But you won't believe how many people are like, oh my gosh, you've texted me a couple times. I'm so sorry. I've just been busy on the weekend,
Yeah.
you know,
Makes
and then
sense.
hey, no worries. Most of my clients are busy people that have very full lives, totally get it. I do have a little bit of availability in the next couple of days to hop on an initial phone call, which is pretty basic. It's really just to introduce myself and hear more about you and see how it is that I can possibly help. Does tomorrow or Thursday work better for you?
Love it. I love that. I love that. Actually, what it does do is because I actually am the recipient of, I'm getting my own life insurance over here in the UK adjusted. And I'm the recipient of that. And to be fair, the agent has been great in a sense of he's given me space, and he would check in every now and then with a text, not a call, saying, "I'll just checking in," or just, just like small updates like that. And as someone who is crazy busy, I actually do appreciate it. Not someone who's trying to bash your phone down. And if you think about it from, especially the leads that we generate, they are people who are of working age. They are people who have jobs, who have typically very good jobs as well. And so if you're on the mindset of that individual that's on Like you, a 6-figure salary, you're managing 48 different people. And then you've got someone who's trying to blow you up every half an hour. And you're like, oh, screw you. I'm busy right now. I'll get to you when I get to you. And then you're like, do you know what? Actually, I can't be bothered with you. You piss me off. That's the same thing that we've got to think about. It's not about just, like you said, hitting those KPIs. There are lead types for that. With Razor Ridge, the KPI isn't dull till death comes home, or text till, you've had the whole of the Harry Potter books sent to them and delivered. It's really about how can you meet them where they're at, and how can you just make sure that you're still in top of mind, but you're not like aggressively trying to pitch them or connect with them. And I think that's why you're getting such lovely responses, is because you're being just very courteous of their time and their day. And a response like we've just mentioned is perfect, right? How can you, as a recipient of that, be upset or angry? You've just said, oh yeah, don't worry about it. I still got a bit of availability to have a chat when you're ready. And it's then up to them to find the time to chat with you.
Mhm. And yeah, the continuation is, if I haven't heard from them, another text message that I use is, hey, just letting you know that I didn't forget about you.
Yeah.
About the life insurance with living benefits, the ones that would pay you if something happened and you got critically ill or disabled, even if you don't pass away.
Mm-hmm.
Just
Just give that
just make,
reminder.
yeah, just making sure you know that I'm still available for you when you're ready.
Perfect. It doesn't need to be more complicated than that, which I love. And obviously, the more of these podcasts I shoot, the more I realize that the people that are doing well and successful and consistently successful are just being very simple. There's no bells and whistles. There's no this structure on this day. And then, well, there's a structure, but it's not like I do about 10 dials and then 5 this and then do that. Then I send a specific message. It really is just about creating the environment in which it helps the person receiving it want to respond at some point when they're ready. And when they do, like I say, it's usually favorable and it usually works in your favor. And I'm sure when you get on the phone with them, it's a much more courteous conversation. Am I right?
Yeah. Oh, it's way relaxed. I go into every call with just a heart to serve.
Yeah.
If they obviously found value in what it is that they saw to where they wanted to inquire. A lot of these people have had somebody that's close to them. When I asked that question, you know, then I helped not long ago had a father in his early, his father in his early 70s had cancer. Another lady lost her son. Just had her. She lost her son, one of her siblings, and both of her parents, and still had a daughter that she needed to make sure was taken care of when she passed. So it's it's a part of life, and it's tragic. And being in this space, you hear a lot of those things that break your heart,
Yeah.
and have some empathy and put yourself in the shoes of the person that's reaching out.
Yeah.
How it, God, please help me do the best I can to service this client to the best of my ability. So they do have some kind of peace of mind. You can't really do anything for them emotionally,
No.
except for do the best you can to be there for them and empathize with them as an outsider looking in. But you can give them, the just that peace of mind and the relief.
Yeah.
Well, when the good Lord does call them home, then family's going to be safe and protected, and
Yeah.
that probably helps to sleep better at night. But I digress. Going back, you know, going back a year into this business, about 6 months ago, transitioning from go get it,
Yeah.
go get
Yeah.
to hey, it's there. We want to make sure that they know that we're available, but we're not rushing them.
Yeah.
it was definitely there was a definitely a transitional period there. You know what I mean?
I can imagine. I can definitely imagine. Talk to me about a bit more about the transitional period also when you hit key leader. Firstly, congratulations on hitting key leader. That's awesome for you. Was it a conscious effort to have, are you still buying MP analogs? That's why Razor Ridge made 70% of that number? Or was it just long tail money that you were bringing in for the months effectively for you to get to key leader?
Yeah, I mean, if I look at my numbers here, because I think I made one small or decent investment in March,
Mm-hmm.
like $680 in March. But um, how I was able to hit key leader was in May and January, and you can see
June, you mean, not January?
it's
Yeah.
May and January, May and June. So you can see that in April is when I really started actually, you know, investing more into Razor Ridge leads. So once I had complete buy-in on this, because when you go from hammering the phone all the time, to get results, and I'm going to make the results happen, and I'm going to force these results, to now I'm going from a microwave to a crock pot.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? There's a transition there, and so,
Yeah, of course.
but I was also told, hey, don't think that you might get some wins the first week or two that you get these leads,
Mm-hmm.
but if you don't, this is a pipeline. You know this isn't this isn't one and done and move on to the next. This is a pipeline, and so I trusted the process, and April is when I really started investing in there, and then from there, May was my my best month ever in personal production.
What was
And then,
what, if you don't mind sharing that?
what's that? I'm sorry.
The numbers for May, what was you said it was your best month. What was your
So
production?
so my numbers for May, I submitted on my own. This is all personal. 31,307 in submit, and then 21,634 was issued.
That's so good. To be 2 months in to Razor Ridge, and I granted 70% of that is roughly Razor Ridge. I imagine it's a big difference to where you were previously.
Well, I mean, on average, it was like 12 to, you know, 10 to 12 a month issued paid. So it literally pretty much doubled.
That's insane. And then you did almost the same in June. Am I right?
A smidge less, but right there, dang, I mean, I was less than 200 APV short of 30K in submit. And then, less than 300, below 20,000 in issued paid. So
That's insane. That's insane in such a short period of time, which is, again, you obviously taking the time to transition is probably the biggest thing to take out of this. It's not like necessarily analog leads do or don't work, or Razor Ridge leads do or don't work. It's understanding that how you approach them is different. And as long as you understand that, then you can potentially extract the maximum value out of each lead type. Just going in like, full eyed and open eyed, knowing that you have to potentially change the way you do things to transition over to Razor Ridge. But I think you've done it so well, and it's lovely to see and I guess I'll go into it now, but lovely to see you raise your standards.
yeah, maybe
Where did that come from? I love it. As soon as I saw it, I was like, yep, that's it.
it was just something that was off the top of the dome. You know what I
Yeah.
mean?
Unreal.
And I was thinking about stuff because I'm a '90s kid, and back then, WWF was big, and I thought about Razor Ramon and the Razor's
It was
Edge.
the yes. Gosh, I remember the same era. Yeah, WWF. Then they changed it to WWE. We digress. No, I love it. It's such a good moniker, and it's so good every time I see you and other people now adopt it in the group. It's just a good reflection of what we're trying to do in general. So are you trying to build an agency at the minute as well as production? So how is that working for you? How are you juggling the time of production and building with Razor Edge?
It's definitely a lot easier, right? So my
Yeah.
contact rate doesn't have to be my touch rate and contact rate doesn't have to be as high.
Mm.
And also another difference too, digressing again, is the lead's mine.
Yes.
Hey,
Yeah. Yeah.
so
Yeah.
these people, they may or may not have, requested coverage with Razor Ridge, or maybe they've seen some other advertisement and maybe they did that somewhere else. But if I'm in contact with them, I'm letting them know that I'm available, but I'm not being pushy. I'm
Yeah.
not, because this world. How many salespeople are pushing you? How many random phone calls do you get? How
Yep.
many, how often is everything just in your face to be sold?
Yep.
But if you come with the understanding that these people have lives, they have work, they have children, they have, husbands, they have things that they need to do, and this is definitely a priority, but they don't want to be, they don't want, they don't want to be strangled
Yep.
until trying to get something done.
Yeah.
Then just, I guess what I'm trying to say is that I don't have to, it frees up more time for me to do my building in my business, because as a key leader, you have to have you plus three other people
Mm-hmm.
that run this 2 months consecutively.
Yeah.
And so, but the bulk of the bulk of the production I needed for, you need 20,000 issue paid. So, so yeah, so I carried that weight. There was some other agents that did some producing too as well, a little bit here and there, but I carried that weight. So now, building an agency, also placing systems and automations in place, which I'm probably behind on, even only a year and a half in. I'm sure there's people that have done that already, but I'm going from, this gives me, it frees me up to have the opportunity to transition from being just self-employed into building a business, because I can still produce and I don't have to allocate as much energy producing, constantly having to get a hold of somebody. So then that frees up time so I can go and do recruiting and have my time to run interviews and post jobs and follow up with those people. So this is just the beginning, my friend. This is just the beginning.
Sure it
But
is.
but Razor Ridge and Razor Ridge Leads is definitely an absolute staple in my business moving forward.
No, I appreciate it, and I appreciate the kind words. And it's just been an honor to see your progress, because you're quite an active poster within the Facebook group, and I always notice like the velocity, shall I call it, of your posts, and that usually is also reflective of your performance for the month as well. And so, like you said, your first couple months was figuring it out, and ever since then, it just seems to be going consistently, just very consistent for you. So appreciate you and everything that you're doing. And I'm sure the team that you're training, you're already the beacon for it, and they will learn from a very, very, very good agent. Very, very good agent. So let's go into the rapid fire. I think I know the answers to most of these, but I just want everyone else to see what we got here. Premium GL or analog MP?
Premium GL all day, every day, 10 times out of 10.
Construction or insurance? Which was harder?
I mean, on a physical standpoint, easily construction, right? If I wanted to, I could roll out of bed and get to work with 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 insurance. But what insurance does, and as the world does, insurance is a window. It's not a mirror. So it exposes who it is that you are, and what
Yeah.
it is that you need to work on and develop in yourself. And so
Mm.
this last year and a half has been a heck of a lot of growth. And I've
Yep.
been so blessed to have somebody that I'm with that is very supportive. And I've
Mhm.
surrounded myself around some very supportive people in the space. So shout out to anybody watching that has contributed to my success. I really appreciate you. But from a mentally,
Yep.
is definitely tougher.
Yeah. Talk to me about that growth actually, because you mentioned it near the start, and I think we probably need to spend a bit of time there whilst we're on it. So, what type of growth are you talking about that you've on your journey to being where you are today?
Well, I mean, like I said, you gotta speak publicly all your fears and your insecurities and, the things that the things that hold you back,
Hmm.
right? Are
Yeah.
things that you need to face.
Yeah.
And I know just starting out to build an agency, my agency is only going to be as big as I am, right?
Mm. Hmm.
And if I don't conquer my demons,
Yep.
if I'm not if I'm not true to myself,
Hmm.
and having the battle is always internal, right?
Yep.
The saying that says, if there is no enemy on the inside, the enemy on the outside can do us no harm. So the personal self development, it's hard. It's hard being consistent every day. It's hard having structure every day. It's
Hmm.
hard humbling yourself and extracting the pride and ego out of yourself that says I can do it myself.
Yeah. Yeah. That's a
You
big
know,
one.
and then all and then just being willing to have the courage to jump and grow wings on the way down.
Yeah.
You know, I went from a 9 to 5 construction manual labor job to where if I knew if I showed up, I worked hard, and I wasn't a jerk on the job site, then I was going to get paid,
Yeah.
and somebody else was going to pay me.
Yeah.
If I'm traveling and on the road and I'm working 60-hour weeks, but it's for somebody else to build somebody else's dream, it's scary to transition from that to now everything's on me. I don't I don't eat if I
Yeah.
don't somebody out.
Yeah.
I'm responsible for everything to track. Now you
Yeah.
wear a different hats when you're just starting out. I'm the accountant.
Yeah.
I'm the person to help families with the policies. I'm the person that needs to do the admin and back
Yeah.
end stuff. And so to be able to face that, have that, and then continue to grow and progress is tough,
Yeah.
right? You got to get out of your comfort zone, because the comfort is where growth goes to die. So, but you look at anybody that's successful, right? Anybody who's at the pinnacle of what it is that they've done, you only see that.
Yes.
You're only seeing that tip of the iceberg, and then the other 99% of that iceberg is below the surface of the long days, the tireless nights, the
Hmm.
putting in the extra work,
Yeah.
the hey, I don't know about this, but I'm gonna figure it out. Like that's tough, and I feel like that's through practice and repetition continually, and how we were talking about earlier. You have a threshold, you reach that threshold, you push the envelope. It's
Yep.
uncomfortable as heck,
Yep.
but then you grow, and then incrementally you grow.
Yeah.
And then sometimes I have to remind myself, Ao, I have to stop and pause and take a look back, because
Yeah.
sometimes when that envelope is being pushed, and that fear and that doubt and that BS that my mind starts to lie to me about,
Hmm.
I need to turn around and look and go, okay, I've done hard things before.
Yeah. Yeah.
Well, but that's the challenge that I like, right?
Yep.
Because if we stop growing, we're dying.
Yeah. I agree with
We're
that.
either moving forward or we're moving backwards.
I completely agree with that. And actually, you said something that is hyper important to me as well, which is when you take a look back, sometimes you can be growing and growing and not look back. You definitely need to take a look back and just remember where you came from, right? The person you are today is a completely different person that you were a year ago and 2 years ago. And then sometimes we can get frustrated in the moment of, oh, I just want that little bit more. I could be a little bit better at X, Y, and Z. But taking a step to, or just a moment to look back and say, but if you look at me a year ago, I was terrible at this, that, you got this Rolodex of stuff that you just have massive improvements on. And sometimes it really is a blessing just being able to also say that with confidence and, chest that, hey, who I am today is just a much better version of what I was in the past. And as long as you say, keep making those incremental gains, who knows what's going to happen in another 2 years? You'll be again a very, very different person in a very, very different position, a much better position. Then you look at your key leader say and think, man, that was great, but I'm even better now. And I'm just keep going and going and going. So yeah, I appreciate that because I think that's mentally the mentality of the business and going from like is it W-2, you guys call it, to a 1099 is, it's a challenge because like you said, you're wearing millions of different hats and then just getting through that to then get into the next phase, which is how do I sell life insurance? So am I underwriting properly? Is this the right way to go? Is that the right way? Did you start learning your chops and you learn about different lead types and all that stuff? And then you're like, right, now I've got to build a team. How do I build a team? So there's constant evolution all the time. And that does, I can imagine, play with you mentally to, am I good enough? Can I do it? Do I have the chops for this? Can I make the progress that I'm looking for?
Well, and the beauty of this, at least with Symmetry Financial Group, I can't speak for any other independent marketing organization, but there's this beautiful dance of balance, right? Because there's that line between still being humble enough to be a student, because
Yeah.
there's so many people that are doing fantastic, that have all these other attributes and personalities, and their bank accounts are better, but they're also affecting and impacting so many people that potentially look up to them in that way.
Yeah. Yeah.
But then also being in the space for 18 months, being a key leader, seeing these new people come in and just being able to relate to them.
Yeah.
And man, I remember when that phone was 300 pounds to pick up to make a call.
Yeah.
And then I'm posting my dials, contacts, and appointments the first couple weeks I'm there. And I thought I did a lot, making, 15 phone calls. And then like I said, seeing people that are just getting started and being like, I've been there before, stick with it. Don't
Yeah.
give up,
Yeah.
reach out, be humble enough to ask questions and ask for help,
Yeah.
correct yourself, believe in yourself. If I can do it, if other people are doing it, so can you. And that's another beautiful thing about the insurance business as well. It doesn't matter what color you are. It doesn't matter what age you are. It doesn't matter what gender you are. It
Mm-mm.
doesn't matter if you have an accent or not.
Yeah.
People have come from it doesn't matter if you were born with a wooden spoon or a silver spoon in your mouth. You can make a change in your business and in your life personally.
Yeah. I love that. We digressed. Well, I really like that digress. I think it was important. So let's get back into this. What's the biggest myth about switching careers into the life insurance business?
I think that it's going to be easy if you've had, and I mean this, and let me put some context to that, right? Because I was in the insurance business before a little bit. I was in construction for the last 8 years before I moved to Orlando. Did the the wholesaling thing, which is sales as well.
Yeah.
I've sold cars in the past. So I've been in a sales environment, but I never actually put effort into a career like I made a decision to when I started in life insurance. So I think just the concept of it being easy just because you have sales experience is a myth, because it's a completely different animal than selling something that's tangible,
Yeah.
or selling anything else, right? Or helping someone else and being a consultant for someone,
Yeah.
right?
No, I love
So
that. Great answer. Great answer. So, one word for your first 18 months.
work.
Yeah. Yeah, I hear it. And last one, finish this. Raising your standards means
Raising who it is that you see yourself and who you want to be.
the answer. Oh, that's a great way to close it. James, this has been brilliant. What you've shown is, hopefully you've shown this, well, I'm sure you have shown this to everyone watching, is that you don't need 20 years in the industry to start making serious money. What you need is the right leads, the right approach, and a willingness to stop running them like the old playbook, essentially. And so everyone who's watching, you can find James in the Facebook group. He's posting all the time. So if you have a question, you can always reach out for him. Thank you once again, everyone, for watching the show. This one's been a blast. And thanks for watching another episode of Agent Spotlight. As always, please like it, please share it, please comment, send it to an agent that you think needs to hear it. And I'll see you on the next one. Thank you.